Hi, my name is Kayla Jacobs. I'm an account executive at Writer. I have a slight focus on working with existing clients, but I also help bring on new clients to our book of business. So I've been with Writer for just over a year now. I just celebrated midway through November, so it's really exciting. First and foremost, I feel like in my career, I've always tried to stay at the forefront of technology. So I've been in 3D printing, I came through in relational databases, and then AI sort of hit the fold in 2023. And I was really curious about what that would look like and how that would enter into organizations. So I wanted to be part of that conversation. And then as I was starting to look at different places to work during that, search phase, Writer really stood out to me with May, having a female CEO, having so much female leadership, and then having that female CEO at the helm being so loud and proud and intelligent and coming in with her persona, I think was such an attractive thing for me, because one of the things being in our roles, I think, is you always want to have someone that you can look up to that's doing the thing that you ultimately want to do, or showing that leadership that you're trying to evolve into. And so having May be here was a really big factor for me in actually coming to Writer. I think a lot of times when women come into sales, they're much more thought of as the nurturing customer success side of things. They're much more thought of as, a little bit meek, a little bit less aggressive. So they can be seen as someone who's maybe not going to be able to get things across the line because you won't be able to go and advocate for what you need, and you won't be able to really put all the people in the right place. And what I have found is that's just not the case. A lot of times in our sales environment, being able to listen, coming in with that empathetic ear, being able to really dive into those details and pull all of those threads together and be able to weave this really compelling story. I find that a lot of my female counterparts and myself are outperforming because we're able to get as gritty as we need to be, and we're able to advocate. We just do it in slightly a different way, and maybe, it's perceived as less aggressive, but I have seen many female sellers come in and be able to be as good, or if not better, at doing the negotiations and things like that. I think with AI, it's so new and so many folks are getting involved in it, right? It's really shifted the dynamic of who's really in the room when you're talking in these instances. I do find that a lot of the people that I am talking to are sort of a little bit more in the male sphere. So a lot of the leaders that I'm speaking with are male, but that is starting to shift, right? As we're bringing in more AI focused roles, as we're starting to think about where all of these different roles are coming from, I feel like I'm seeing a lot more women coming up, but a lot more of sort of the leaders and the directors are male in this space. And so I feel like the conversations that I'm having are starting to shift, but I would say it's still very much a male dominated field. But I see a lot of hope for that changing in the next 5 years. I think this is one of my favorite things about working here, is having May at the helm, because I have a direct manager who is a female. I see other managers in leadership in sales that are female, right? I have a VP that is a female. We have enterprise sales leaders that are females. We also have a ton of enterprise sellers that are females, but this also goes across the board. We have so many different women coming in and bringing in new ideas and sort of creating this new way of leading from the front. And so I think with May at the helm, it's really shifted the way that we've thought about who we want to bring onto the team, who we want to curate as our thought leaders and thought partners here. There are so many women that I can look to ask for advice, to ask for mentorship, to be able to follow in their example and follow in their footsteps here of the path that they've taken. I think a lot of times in previous companies, there's sort of this balance that you want to take between voicing your opinion and really challenging certain things that you feel you need to, versus sort of not rocking the boat, right? You only want to use your certain amount of power in certain ways. You only want to speak up for things, a lot of times you'll hear like, this is the hill that I'm going to die on, right? This is the one thing that I'm going to really voice my concerns with. And I find here with our own connect and challenge values, that's sort of turning it on its head. It's sort of saying, hey, by the way, you have a voice here. And if you have a different opinion, bring it to the table. Let's have a conversation. If you feel like you need to own this, and really step up and be able to take on all of the things that come with that and really be able to show your expertise and show your passion. And so I think with this Connect, Challenge, Own that we're bringing to the fold, it's really encouraging anyone, especially women, to be able to speak up and voice their opinion and challenge when they feel that they have something really important to say and really wanting to stand behind their beliefs for something that's going on with the customer or for anything that you're doing. As Writer continues to grow, they want their employees to continue to grow as well. And with the way that generative AI has sort of shifted and changed, we really regrow ourselves every 3 months. We have to grow rapidly with everything. And so having that reflected back from my management has been really fun and really rewarding for me to be able to continue my career trajectory and my career growth here. first and foremost, approach everything with curiosity. I think being curious and learning as much as you can is the foundation, right? I think without curiosity, you're coming in with a perspective, but you sort of lose out on like learning really what's going on here and anchoring on that problem for them and understanding how what we're doing and what is possible. I think you really limit that scope if you don't come in with an approach of curiosity and really ask a ton of questions and make it not about yourself, but really, what are we doing here? And what is the big problem that we're anchoring on? And why is that business impactful to you? And why would this change? And I think the second thing that really comes into play is thinking about learning the product. I think having an understanding of what the product that you're working with can do and what generative AI can do and can't do, I think is paramount. I have found a lot of times in my sales career that being a product expert and really knowing how everything works and how it ties together and how it can integrate into a business is like one of my biggest skills in my arsenal. If you're not working in AI right now, play around with all the products on the market today, right? There's so many different free models that you can play around with and so much knowledge about how to use them and deploy them and where they go and how they work and all of that, where I think that is the biggest advice I can give. Know the product. I think understanding what Writer can do is the best thing that you can figure out coming into a sales role, right? A lot of people will say understanding sales process, figuring out, what's our demo look like? And that's great. All the underlying needs though tie back to knowing what Writer can do and knowing all of the different functionality that we have. We come out with new tech every month, right? New functionality that's groundbreaking. And so being able to really understand what all those things do and how they all tie together is the first thing. The second thing I would say is really going through the entire archives that we have of customer calls. We have so much information from the 5 years that we've been doing this in there that you can learn from. You can see how people are talking about it. You can see how customers are responding to it. You can see what's really landing, what's really not landing, and how to like frame all of these different components that you might need to be able to be a successful seller. So we have a number of different resources. First and foremost, I would always highly encourage you to go check out our careers page, see what opportunities are available. I'm pretty sure they're in the hundreds right now. We're scaling pretty rapidly. Next, I would say if you're really interested in Writer, try and schedule a little bit of time with one of us that already works here in the role that you're doing to try and get a little bit more insight into our world, what we do, see if it's a good fit for you. And then depending on that, I would always encourage you to apply. There's a lot of different opportunities to meet with different folks throughout the interview process. And so I always highly encourage you to first do a little research on the company, go to our careers page, then try and find one of us to have a quick chat with.